Hey, it's April. I am the founder of the Love and Loss Project for those of you who aren't familiar with me. And I just wanted to go through some of the questions about the Hope and Healing Retreat that is taking place next weekend, August 17th to 19th. So I thought I would just kind of answer some of the questions and concerns that have come in, and just to kind of walk you through a little bit more about what you can expect at the retreat and what that's going to look like exactly, in case you are trying to decide if this feels like the right thing for you or not. So, one of the questions is really about, or I guess I just want to clarify, is who is this for? So, the Hope and Healing Retreat, the weekend retreat, is for women who have experienced the loss of a baby or pregnancy. And so, if somebody has lost a child who's of an older age, then I'm certainly willing to offer support to people on more of a one-to-one basis. But this weekend retreat is really just for women who have lost babies up until probably the age around 2. I think most of the women who are coming so far have lost a baby up to a few months old, and during pregnancy as well. So that is really who this circle is for. It's for women who have lost a baby under the age of 2. It is not for women. So one of the other things to think about, if this is right for you or not, one of the things that I've designed this retreat in mind is that at the end of the day, we all have different needs, we all have different comfort zones, we all have different preferences. And one of my fears, and I certainly have heard from other women, is about really what it's like to come into a group space when you're not really sure if you're going to be able to take care of your own self in the way that you need to. And I think that's a really important question, right? That matters. That's always something that I want to know before I'm about to enter into a new situation or environment. Am I going to be able to take care of myself in the way that I need to? And so this weekend is designed to be experiential healing. I want everyone who comes into this weekend to leave feeling like this is absolutely the best investment that they could have made of their energy and time and resources, that this is absolutely the best possible thing that they could have done with their time. And in order to do that, I wanted to create an experience where people really had some freedom and some choice, because that is one of the things that I find I always want. I want freedom and choice. And so you have, well, there's some set activities and some set experiences and some set teachings that I want to guide you through. I've also built in a fair bit of free time, and I really want people to be able to kind of move at their own ebb and flow. So if that means that you want to take some time on your own to just kind of go and read a book, you have the option to do that. I really definitely recognize that each person recharges in a different way. And that is one of my key goals for this weekend, is that you leave feeling actually a little more energized and a little more refreshed. That this is a place that, while we certainly are dealing with some big heartbreak, that we're doing this in a way that actually feels restorative as opposed to destabilizing, right? In a way that kind of just knocks us open, because I think sometimes that's often kind of our concern. And I think I've certainly heard from women that sometimes when they've attended groups, there's been groups that they've gone to that have been amazing and really supportive and have felt really good. And there's been groups where they've almost left feeling a little more triggered or a little bit more unsettled than when they walked in. So for me, I take this work really seriously, and it is really important to me that this group feels nourishing, that it feels like a solid circle of restorative support and care for you. And so, for instance, even just people recharge differently, whether they are introvert or extrovert. We tend to think of those differences as being about whether you enjoy hanging out with people or not, or about how shy you are, but that's not actually what those words mean. When we're really talking about the difference between introvert and extrovert, we are definitively talking about how do you recharge your batteries, what restores you and what refuels you. And so, whether you are more extroverted, and part of that retreat experience that you're most looking forward to is being able to be in a circle of other women who truly get it, where you can share your experience and be heard and have that kind of connection in circle with the other women there. That is certainly there for you. But you also have the opportunity to really step out as you need to take care of your own self in a way that is individual if you need to, and personal. So for some women that might be going for a nature walk by themselves. For some women that might be taking time to kind of call home to their partner or see how their other kids are doing. For some women that might just be going for a nap, right? Whatever that is. So I've really designed this experience so that you have full freedom with absolutely no judgment or pressure to take care of your own self in the way that you need to. So that is kind of what I want you to keep in mind, is that really this is for you to restore. This is for you to get your needs met. And so I really like to make that as much inflow with your own pace as you need to. One of the concerns that women also say, is I'm not always comfortable talking in groups, and sometimes it takes me a long time to get to know people. That's absolutely understandable, and in many ways I kind of operate the same way. Sometimes it kind of takes me a little bit of a hard time when I'm in a new situation or setting to kind of just get in my bearings. Probably because even though I do all these talks and conversations, I am a little bit more quiet by nature. And so one of the things that this experience is designed to do is to really just support and kind of carry you through that process. And you really, really have full freedom to share as much or as little as you choose about your own experience, because we certainly know there's times when we want to go there, and there's times when that just doesn't feel like, it feels maybe a little too much for us in that moment. So there's really no pressure. I will be inviting people to share as much as they would like to, and I will be offering people that little bit of space and support to do that. But there's really no pressure. People are absolutely free to pass, to take breaks, to step out as they need to, and to refresh and recharge their own batteries as they need to. Because this weekend, it is about, I think of it truly in terms of, this is intensive care for your heart. This is intensive care for your soul after your world has kind of been smashed to bits, or as you're experiencing that kind of disconnect that sometimes happens when we're going through life after loss, between, it can sometimes be hard to find where your place is for some of the things that you used to do and used to enjoy, right? I know for myself and a lot of the women that I've spoken to in my private one-to-one work, that there's times where even that idea of your friends may say, let's go out for dinner, and go out for dinner with your old circle of friends. And while in the past, before the loss of your little one, that might have been a really enjoyable evening out for you. But now you have to really, or feels like you're on guard for, what if I get seated next to a newborn baby? And what if something happens that's really triggering for me? Or what if something sets me off and all of a sudden I am overwhelmed and I just want to go home, right? Our social circle and our activity circle changes after we've gone through life after loss. So this experience is designed with all of that in mind, that this is really designed to be a place where you don't have to wear a mask, where you don't have to pretend that you are fine if you are not, where you do not have to censor or hold back because you're worried that other people are not going to get it, or that you're going to be judged or misunderstood. Because this is a circle of women that understand this all too well, because they're walking the same walk that you are. So one of the other things that was sent to me was someone saying that they're having a hard time getting their partner to understand why this is such a valuable weekend, and why this is such an important weekend for their grief and their healing. And I think a lot of people can relate to that challenge, both possibly with their husbands or partners, as well as maybe with their family. And so, what I want to offer you is I think that this, on the surface, what I've heard from people, it can be really misunderstood in that people look at the idea of a weekend retreat and they think that you're just going on vacation. Oh, that sounds really nice. You're going to go on this weekend away. You're going to do yoga. You're going to do art. You're going to hang out at this little, retreat in the woods. Wow, that's a really great vacation. And while there definitely is a lot of parts of this that is designed to nurture you and feel like a vacation in many ways, there's a really big difference. A vacation, in my experience of it, is really just about a fun change of scenery. It's a fun change of experience. And while that can be great, a retreat, a hope and healing retreat weekend, as I've designed it to be, is about a change in you. I want people to go home carrying something new with them. I want them to go home feeling lighter and having been able to let go of some of the awful parts that no longer serve you to carry, some of the unnecessary layers of some of the guilt, the frustration, the hurt, the self-attacks. This is some of the stuff that we're going to be letting go of so that you can actually go home lighter, feeling more connected to your baby without getting pulled under by the pain. And that was actually one of the ways when we were talking during the retreat last year when I hosted it last summer. One of the women said to me, and it just really stayed with me. She had said that, she'd been a little bit nervous about coming because, it seemed like this had the potential to be really emotionally overwhelming, because I certainly understand that concern. But what she had said was that this felt like it had allowed her to actually feel closer to her baby during the course of this weekend without getting pulled under by the pain. And I think when we've lived through this, we know all too well how the pain in and of itself almost feels like a sense of closeness to our baby sometimes, because it's like that's all we get, right? That's all that is left in some ways of them some days. Is it feels like all we have left is the pain and our tears. And it's almost like that pain kind of latches onto us, and that feels like our sense of connection to our babies. That feels like the tie that keeps them feeling present and connected to us. And part of the hope of this retreat and part of the intention of this retreat is that you were able to actually feel closer to your little one and closer to your experience of motherhood without just getting totally overwhelmed by the pain. And I really walk people through some of the ways that have been really useful for me and some of the other women that I've supported in helping them to kind of untangle from some of the sharp edges of the agony of it all, so that they can actually just hang on to and protect really our experience of motherhood, as brutal and both beautiful as it is, that we can just kind of hang on to our experience of being our little one's mother and our sense of connection to them, whatever that is for you, in whatever way that is that feels right for you. So that was, for me, one of the most touching and one of the most heartwarming moments for me, although there was many, of the retreat last year, was really hearing that woman describe and seeing all the other women agree with that description, that it felt like she was able to feel both closer to her baby without getting pulled under by, that old familiar agony that grief does to us, right? Which of course it does. So this is kind of what we move through in a really gentle, kind and supportive way, is helping you to find some different ways to kind of move through this with lots of love and lots of care and lots of understanding. Another thing that came in was somebody mentioning about being really nervous about that experience of meeting new people. I definitely understand that. I remember one of the women last year talking about at the end, she didn't share this with us right away, of course, but as we were almost moving into that stage of the weekend of saying our goodbyes, she had talked about how she had been so nervous to come and even just come to this retreat that she had almost been tempted to turn around partway through, right? Which I totally get. It really is an act of courage and bravery to say, I don't know for sure what exactly this experience is going to be like. I don't know for sure, how this day is going to play out or how I'm going to feel when I get there until I get there. But that act of courage of listening to that voice, that listening to that gut instinct that told her that she needed this and that told her that this was going to be okay and that this was going to help make some of this easier to carry. And I really do believe that that is actually one of the things that really stops us the most from giving ourselves whatever form of care it is that we need, whether that's coming to this retreat or engaging in some other form of really moving into your own experience in a different way. I think as women, we learn to and we practice really so often being the ones to care for other people and being the ones to be that good supportive friend that shows up for somebody else, or being that good supportive daughter or family member who really, knows the right things to do, or at least wants to jump in there and be helpful and support somebody else through whatever fight it is that they are having. But so often, I've experienced both myself and, with the women I support, that when it comes to really turning that energy around to actually give our own selves that real investment of time and care and kindness that we so easily give to other people, whether that's our coworker or a neighbor or a friend, that can be really challenging for a lot of women. And so this is often some of the messages back that I hear from people whenever I offer this retreat is this idea of, I would like to come, but I would love to be able to make it, but. And I can certainly relate to that because I know it takes a deep breath of courage to say, I am going to honor that voice in me that says I need this, or says that I deserve this, or says that this is important for me. It's hard to do that. It is really hard to really make our own well-being a priority. So much of the time, I think a lot of us, and I've certainly been there as well, so I don't say this with judgment, a lot of us can really just go back to what we know and what we're good at, which can be pushing through, which can be just managing on our own, which is just saying, you know what, I know I can do hard things. And even though this is unbearable and this is shaking me to the core, I'm just going to continue to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm just going to continue to manage all my other responsibilities as I need to, and I'm just going to kind of do this on my own. And I think in some ways that kind of breaks my heart because I feel like it is an important and radical act to really treat yourself the way that this deserves, to really give yourself some form of deep, deep nourishment, some form of deep, deep care. I don't believe that there are many experiences that we're going to go through in our lifetime that take us to rock bottom or that challenge our beliefs or our sense of self or our sense of identity or our sense of being able to trust the world again or trust our bodies again, as going through the loss of a baby does. It just does not get much bigger than that. This stuff is huge. It changes us. It just does. So for me, and I know I've shared this story before, but one of the reasons why I started the Love and Loss Project was because after I had lost my daughter, even though I'd been working as a therapist for almost a decade, working in that field, I still found like it was so hard to find the kind of support and community that I wanted to find. I wanted to have a place where my pain could both be witnessed without somebody just needing to slap a band-aid on it, or without somebody telling me to look on the bright side, or without somebody just wanting to move to fix it in some way or form, or somebody cringing, because I certainly experienced a lot of that, where it felt like people could not even really look at me in quite the same way. I don't know if you can relate to this experience, but I have this like memory in my mind right now of neighbors dropping off, which was really sweet, right? They dropped off, I don't remember what it was. It was like a casserole or baked goods or something. And it was so kind of them to do that. And I also just remember as they were dropping it off, I remember just noticing how they couldn't actually look at me. And it was the strangest juxtaposition of both lots of kindness, that they even managed to come over and were thinking of me and wanting to deliver the sweetness to me. And at the same time, the pain of it all, the tragedy of it all, the messed upness of it all was way too intense to actually look at. I was too tragic and intense to actually look at. And I remember my sister, she was standing there at that time, which I was grateful for, especially as I think of it now. Thank you if you ever see this. But I remember saying to my sister, because I realized that, right? People almost think you're like insane, but you're still aware, obviously, of what's happening. As strange as that is, when we have one foot in that land of loss and one foot that is still in the here and now. And I remember saying to my sister, like, wow, like they didn't even look at me. They couldn't look at me, because it truly was this absolute, like, they could not look over in my direction and make eye contact. And I remember my sister just saying to me at that time, April, a grieving mom is pretty hard to see. Right? And I think we've all had probably 100 or 1,000 or 10 or 20 experiences of that, depending on how far along you are in this experience, where it's like you are too much. The experience itself is too much. The pain is too much. The lack of certainty is too much. The risk that our own presence seems to bring into a room, as if somehow tragedy is contagious, is too much. So, it was some of those experiences that led me to create the Love and Loss Project, because I really wanted there to be a place where people would not feel like they or their pain or this experience was too much. I wanted people to be able to access a place of true understanding, where they would not feel like they had to minimize or shield other people from the awfulness, just the realness of it, the realness of going through miscarriage, the realness of going through the loss of a baby. I wanted people to have somewhere where they did not have to wear those masks, because I don't know about you, but I certainly got really good through my experience at kind of telling people what they could handle hearing. How are you? I'm fine. How are things? Pretty good. Doing fine, right? We get kind of good at self-protecting, because, I think I've certainly heard from many women, so I know I'm not alone in this, where it's like you do choose to share something, you do choose to open up, even if that's just a little bit. And instantly people kind of turn away, or you feel them tense, or they change the topic, or they blurt out something in that moment of anxiety or whatever it is that they're feeling. They blurt out something that really just confirms for us they don't get it and they can't handle it, right? It's like that thing that I know people mean well when they say it, but it would become one of those things that would drive me crazy. Where people are like, I can't imagine, what you're going through. I could never make it through. And you're like, as if I have a choice, right? Like, as if I have a choice. So as we move towards next, so not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend of August 17th, what I really am offering and want people to come and experience is just a place where you don't have to effort, where you don't have to try, where you don't have to be anything other than what you are in that moment. If you're feeling happy and laughing, great. And that was one of the things I remember waking up at one moment. I had this awesome little space. I remember just waking up and you can see kind of the woods outside and just kind of the trees, and I could hear the birds going. And I was lying there listening to the sound of women laughing as they were getting up and getting their morning coffee and tea and kind of gathering for breakfast. And I remember just lying in my bed at just the kind of unexpected magic that retreat had created. I certainly had prepared myself for the idea that I'd be hearing a lot of tears. What was actually, amazing was the amount of joy and laughter and love and goodness that was going around that space. And I think that, one of the things that just made that it was just really wonderful. It was just really wonderful. And like I said, for those of you who've been kind of listening to me talk about this before, I was not actually planning to offer this retreat again this year in Ontario, because if you've been following my journey, you see I've been traveling an awful lot. I've spent the last 6 months traveling around Rome and Italy and Europe. And I was only going to be back home for a fairly brief amount of time. And I did not feel like it necessarily made sense or was going to be the smartest decision, as the midst of we're packing up for our next move and we're trying to reconnect with family and friends that we hadn't seen for a long time. I didn't think it was going to be really realistic to offer the retreat again this weekend. So I had almost kind of let that idea go. I had said, it's probably not going to work out for Ontario this year. And I kind of just put it on the back burner and let it go. But as we moved, towards the summer and into July, I just found myself continuing to think about the retreat and to continue to just kind of have these memories kind of seeping back into my day from time to time, where I would just remember, kind of lying in bed and hearing the laughter, or just really what it was like to just sit around that table with women who you didn't have to explain it to, and to see the calmness and the ease and the relaxation that just kind of took over that whole space when women were allowed to just be whatever that is that they were, without any need to pressure or perform or worried about being judged. And that was amazing. Yeah, so super grateful for the women who were there last year. If you're listening to this, so much love to you guys. That was incredible. I am so grateful for you for sharing that first retreat experience for me. That has filled my heart, and that I believe will stay with me for a lifetime. I remember driving away after the retreat the next day, and I could not believe how happy I was. I thought I would almost feel a little bit burnt out. I thought I would feel worn down. I thought I would feel maybe kind of just stuck in some of my own feelings of grief of having spent a weekend, talking about my daughter as well and sharing her with the world. And instead, what I felt was joy and gratitude. I felt joy for my daughter. I felt joy in that it felt like I was able to be close to her too. So thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you to the women who are already booked in to be there this year. I hope that you're listening to this, because it's going to be absolutely wonderful. We have 4 women who are part of this circle already. I'm so excited to be meeting you guys face to face and to be sitting around having tea and breakfast and dinner with you guys. It's going to be wonderful. For those of you who are thinking about coming, I should tell you a little bit more about the schedule. Last I checked, we have 3 spots left. I was thinking it was 2 at one point, but I think we still have 3 spots left. And the day is going to be that we meet at I'm asking people to arrive on August 17th, that's the Friday, between 4 and 6 p.m. I've given you a little bit of a window because I don't want people to stress out too much. I know some people are arriving and taking flights in the Toronto airport and will be traveling over from there. I know some people are ending their workday or traveling from different places. So I just want to give people, I just want the whole weekend to be easy, right? I just want it to be easy and good. Which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited that it felt like serendipitous, meant to be kind of magic, if you believe in that thing. So like I said, I wasn't going to do the retreat. It just kept sitting with me. It just kept coming back. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to email again the retreat center that we'd booked last time, who had already been in contact with. The original dates that I had proposed to her didn't work. And I was starting to look for another place, which was part of why I'd said, you know what? It's just, I'm not going to have time for it this year. I'm not going to do it. So I let it go. But then I decided I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to email her one more time. And I'm just going to check in and see if anything has changed or if she has, a date that could work. And she answered back, and it's October 17th weekend. Amazing, because that worked for me. So I've decided to take time away from all of my other responsibilities and needs, which tells you, how much I believe in this and how much I believe in the goodness of this. And oh my God, I so want people to be able to experience that for their own self. It's going to be amazing. So good. Yeah, this really is, I think it's truly such a rare opportunity. When do we get to do this? When do we get to take a whole weekend away to heal, and to truly make our own self the priority and to receive the care and goodness. So I know I'm going all over the place, but I just get excited. So one of the things that was so awesome was that Louise was able to have us back. And she is the perfect co-hostess for this in many ways, because she's got this little gem of this retreat center out in the woods. It's so cute. And it is just cozy and warm and snuggly and gentle. The whole place is just soft and gentle. And she does not let you lift a finger the whole time that you're there, which was actually really hard for me to get used to in a way, because I wanted to, we have those instincts. We wanted to get up and help her in the kitchen. We wanted to help her make tea. There's that natural kind of thing that we do when the hostess is kind of making you snacks. You want to get up and go and help her do that, or at least keep her company in the kitchen while she's working, right? And she would always just really hold that space for us to say, I am taking care of you this weekend. So it was amazing. We just got to eat all of this delicious food, receive all of this really good care. And it was amazing for me to even experience and to see this for the other women as well. There's just this different gear that we were allowed to shift into, even just in part due to just that level of being tended to and cared for, right? And this is what I really want people to have. So yes. I feel like there was one more thing that I wanted to tell you about. Oh yes, so the schedule, we're beginning between 4 and 6 on Friday. We're gonna have dinner, we're gonna do some yoga. It's just gonna be light and gentle, so don't worry if this is not your comfort zone, and you don't have to do anything. You really are allowed to kind of create your own healing experience. And then it is going to be Friday till Sunday. We are ending on 2 p.m. on Sunday so that people have enough time to get home, do their other responsibilities and commitments. And I just want to make this really as accessible and easy for people as possible. So 4 to 6 on Friday to 2 p.m. on Sunday, we're going to be drinking lots of tea, connecting, having campfires, doing yoga. I've got some really great healing experiences I want to share with you, and then I'm going to be guiding you through, which is just me sharing some of the things that have been most useful for me and some of the other women I've supported, and some of the things that have really made the biggest difference in me being able to actually live and enjoy my life again, because that was really one of my key goals for my own self. I did not want to just be able to make it through the experience of losing my daughter. I wanted to actually be able to love my life again. And it was so strange. My partner and I were traveling, and we were hiking, and we were in this beautiful area of Italy. So mind you, of course, that always helps. But we were in this beautiful place, and I remember just saying to him, as I'm looking around and I'm enjoying his company and I'm enjoying where we are, and I remember just saying to him, life is great, isn't it? And then I had that moment of awareness that that idea, that feeling of life is great was so freaking far away from that, from those earlier stages of life after I lost my daughter, when I kind of didn't really care if I was dead or alive, and when I kind of did not really be able to have any image of what my life was going to look like without her. And I didn't have any real sense of actual um, faith or trust that I was going to actually be truly okay again, not just surviving, not just I'm still alive, not just, I'm still living to tell the tale, but that I would actually love being alive again. And that's what I want you to have. So I know I'm ranting on and on. This was just going to be a couple minute thing I was sharing, but I just, it just hits home for me. So I hope you can come. There are 3 spots left. I would love to share them with you guys. I would love for you to experience this. If you have questions, email me or private message me or post them here in our private group. Love you guys.